Hi, Mark Karpinski, Director of Sales for WineRacks.com, and welcome to segment number 2, How to Consult with a Client. We last left off wanting to know the answer to why aren't we ready to proceed to design after the initial assessment of the wine storage project. Well, we're going to answer those questions for you today. First of all, we may know the makeup of the room, but we don't know how your client's expectations and the way that they collect their wine, what they are. So that's where we put the two pieces of the puzzle together. The first thing we need to know is, what is the purpose here? Is this wine storage area going to be a focal point to the home? Is it going to be just functional storage? Or is it going to be some combination of both, where they want it to look nice, have other people look at it and show it off a little bit? Or is it just simply doing the job of storing their wine? Well, what's the client's taste? Are they traditionalists, where they want something old world, or something that you see in many photographs of classic wine cellars? Or is it maybe something more contemporary that you see in more metro markets and maybe hospitality venues, where there's something a lot cooler and less traditional? Then most important is, how much wine do they have? Is it going to be a collection that's going to continue to grow? I always think that it's a good idea to make sure that you got a good handle on that, and also making sure that your client has a good handle on what that future need may be. Anybody that tells me that they've got 500 bottles of wine now, once they have a wine room or a wine storage area, next thing you know, they're wishing that they had more wine, and obviously they need more storage. So I would say add a little bit to that future capacity, and don't feel bad about doing that. Just as a very general calculation, it's our experience that on average, in 1 linear foot of wall space, you're going to average about 40 to 50 bottles of storage. Again, that's going to vary plus or minus depending on how many bells and whistles there are in that wine room and what types of storage it is. But on average, for every linear foot, you can bank on 40 to 50 bottles of wine storage and presentation. Okay, now that we got the answers to some of those questions, we just want to verify what we saw in the initial assessment of the project. Do we have accurate wall dimensions? The old adage applies here too: measure twice, cut once. And so let's get these numbers accurate before we put anything into design, and you will save time and money for both you and your client by doing that. Make sure that you note any and all obstructions in the room. Obstructions being bump outs to walls, light fixtures, light switches on the wall, cooling unit, anything along those lines that cannot be blocked by a wine rack or a wine storage solution, something that we have to work around. Also, it's important at this time to make sure that we understand whether the client wants to have environmental control in this room, or would they like to keep it as a passive, non-environmentally controlled room. In future segments, you'll read about all of the options for environmental control. In how the client collects their wine and wants to store and display it, there are some key things other than just individual bottle storage. People buy wood cases of wine. They come in 6-bottle cases, they come in 12-bottle cases. We want to know how many the client has now how many they'll have in the future, and we want to make sure that we've got a special spot for that wood case display and storage. Sometimes if it's a small quantity, we'll simply take the bottles out of that 1 or 2 wood cases of wine that they have and put it into the wine racks itself. Now we have a very, very important factor in what will happen in this design of the wine room, and that's what is the focal point for the area. For instance, does the client want to have an arch or a cutout and a tasting table, a staging area for their wine room, or display cabinets, stemware racks? What is going to be that thing that the eye is going to go to immediately in that room? What wall is that? What space is that? And what is going to occupy that space? Try to get the client to imagine themselves in this space and what area of that room they consider to be the focal point. Sometimes that can be defined by the type of door that you're going to have in the wine room. For instance, if it's a see-through glass door, well, then you're going to see a particular section of wall. So maybe that focal point is straight across from the glass door. If that door is solid wood, well, you really don't see the wine room until you walk into it. So the focal point of that wine room with a solid wood door could be a different spot than it would be if it was a see-through door. This is just some of the factors you need to keep in mind. Next, what format, what size are the bottles in your client's collection? As most people know, standard wine bottles, 750 milliliter. You hear that term all the time. All of our standard wine racking is meant for 750 milliliter bottles, and that could encompass champagne bottles, burgundies, Pinot Noirs, splits, you name it. The largest family of bottles, standard bottles, fits into the standard racking. But there are things like magnums, 3-liter bottles, 5-liter bottles, many, many different formats of bottles that client wants to collect and present that are going to be factors in the design. Keep in mind, there is a wine storage solution no matter the size of the bottle, but make sure that you get an understanding of the approximate percentage makeup of each type of bottle. Now there's bells and whistles. This is what really hits to the heart of the client. What is their visual inspiration? They see a picture on perhaps house, or saw somebody else's wine room, or saw a beautiful display of wine in a restaurant or hospitality setting. They've got something in their head, some kind of inspiration. How can we recreate that, and how can we enhance it? Perhaps with LED lighting effects in the room. What type of materials is the client looking for? Are they looking for a wood product for their wine cellar, such as pine, redwood, mahogany, oak, black walnut, something perhaps custom? Are they looking for a metro look, some metal finish, black satin or chrome, or some combination of both, which a lot of wine storage, wine rooms actually encompass? As you're going through this process of consulting with a client, you're gathering a lot of information. It's very, very important to take that information and document it so that when you do get to the design process, there isn't anything that you've forgotten from that conversation with the client. And as you complete the wine storage design questionnaire, you're kind of painting that picture of the wine room with the client in advance of doing the design. When you say, I could imagine on this wall having X, over on this wall, maybe this is a gorgeous display area. Whatever, you're painting the initial verbal design and getting that client to be on board with you, or saying, no, maybe that's not what I pictured. Let's rehash this. But this questionnaire is key to making sure that you've documented at least the minimum key points that are going to get you to the design process. So after you've completed that, the next thing we're going to do is head off into the actual physical design of the wine room using SketchUp or whatever design platform software that you use. So stay tuned for segment number 3, designing a wine room or wine storage solution. Thank you.